development. So the training and development is one of the major functions of management, and it also helps the HR manager in order to identify the employee, and in order to make him do this work in a better way, there is a need for training the employee, and the development is with respect to the execute. So this training is going to be helpful. And before going for that, let us look at the definitions given for training. So training, as we know, it is a process of trying to alter the employee's behavior. So in training, we are trying to alter the employee behavior, and we are also trying to help him attain the goals of the organization by having some alternative change in his attitude, and we try to increase the possibility of attaining the goal. So we try to focus on skills. What are the skills which is essential for an employee in order to accomplish the goals of the organization? So it is a process. Training is a process whereby we try to develop the knowledge what is needed, and try to make him acquire the skill what is needed, and to develop his competency in order to attain the goal of the organization. So to put it together, training is trying to make on some modification or some attitudinal change or a behavior change. How he is acquiring this change? He is trying to learn something. So he is learning something that can be a skill or the competency in order to attain the goal of the organization. So if we look at the definition, we have employee training is a system whereby we are trying to make the organization, where the organization tries to look into the improvement of the skill and the performance of the employee. So same way, this training and development will try to initiate some need analysis. So based on the need of the employee, we have to plan the training process, so it will help to achieve the productivity. The training is really referring to the educational activities within which a company can create. So it is trying to focus on the knowledge and the skills of the employees based on his caliber or the competency. We provide them the instruction and information, and we try to boost his morale. So he is trying to update his knowledge with new technology. He can learn what is called as industrial safety. The employee will be prepared in order to face the challenges. The employee is being motivated, and based on his training, he can have better career opportunities. So these are the areas where training tries to focus on. Now, if we talk about the importance of training and development, it is trying to focus on the optimal utilization of human resources. So when we are talking about the needs or features, as this training is purely based on the operation of the employee, it is focusing on how to have optimum utilization of the human force in the organization. So the skills of the employees will be developed. It will have an enhanced productivity. It tries to improve the teamwork inside the organization. It also has what is called as organization culture. It tries to develop an organization culture. We try to understand the organization, where I am working, what type of a system I am working on. It creates a healthy working environment. It tries to boost the morale of the employee. It creates an image about the organization. Even there can be a better image about the employee, and it always focuses on the profitability of the organization. That is the purpose of training. So it tries to help the addressing of employees' weaknesses. So the better training program will try to identify what is the weakness. So it tries to help us to know about the SWOT of the employee, that is the strength, weakness, opportunity and threats. So by trying to identify the weakness what an employee has, and it helps him to overcome the weakness. Same way, it also focuses on how to improve the worker's performance. See, if a small training program can help the employee, you can even measure his growth after attending the training program. So it also focuses on improvement in workers' performance. ஸோ ட்ரைனிங்னால ஒரு எம்ப்ளாயோட பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸ் கண்டிப்பாக இம்ப்ரூவ் ஆகும் அப்படின்னா அது எந்த அளவுக்கு ஆகுதுன்னு கூட நம்ம மெஷர் பண்ண முடியும். ஸோ எம்ப்ளாய்க்கு என்ன மாதிரி ட்ரைனிங் தேவைன்றதை ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணிட்டு அவங்களுடைய பர்ஃபார்மன்ஸை இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணுறதுக்காக நம்ம ட்ரைனிங் கொடுக்குறோம். Then it is next one is it is talking about the consistency in duty performance. Sometimes you will be doing the duty very well, suddenly there will be a low performance, then high performance, there will be no consistency. So when training is properly given, he can have the consistency in performing his duty, and employees work satisfaction is very important. Only when he is satisfied with the environment where he is working, he will stay in the organization. And next one is focusing on the productivity. Better improved quality of services and products can be given to the customers. So when we talk about the benefits, we can talk about this. Then it improves the cost analysis. That is, you can have the reduction cost, then reduction in supervision. So these are the outcome of the importance of. Now, why this training is important? As we know, it is trying to focus on the relationship. So whenever there is a superior training and he will be given a proper training, so we try to talk about the organization. So when we have a poor training, then we have to try to understand why there is a poor training. We have to focus on how to improve the training skills, and also talking about training is to put into action or practice. So we have different principles in training. So this principle is to change the environment. Like we have to inculcate the habit of participation among the employees, a framework. We have to find out the guidelines and framework, how the training is to help the employees. We have to find out the suitability. That is, as far as training methods is concerned, we will be seeing different methods of training. So we have to identify which method is going to suit the activity or the sequence of activity, or regarding the continuity of training program, how we are going to know the result. Then talking about the assessment, that is the last stage, whether the training has yielded the desired results. So regarding this advanced economies, as we know, we are talking about the sophisticated human skills. So how that can be done through the extensive training model. Now when you talk about the need for training, there is a focus for a new recruitment. So when there is a new recruitment, that particular people will try to have a positive attitude among the employees. We are also talking about giving them higher responsibilities. Then the employees will be having some advancement in technology. Then talking about the processes, sometimes even they can know about the less wastage, how to decrease the wastage, how to increase the profitability and utilization of the resources. So all these are important, and main focus is on reduced employee turnover. So whenever we start giving training, he will understand and he will be retained in the organization. So that will try to reduce the rate of attrition in the organization. Now the benefits what we will be getting out of this training program is, it will be trying to focus on the quantity and quality improvement of the workforce. It will be focusing on the skills and knowledge and the competency base of the employees. It improves the time and money required to reach the company goals. As we know, for example, if he is a trained salesman, the result, how he is going to attain the target attainment will be more high when compared to an inexperienced and untrained sales person. Same way, this training will help in order to identify the highly skilled and talented employees, so that we can assign them with a higher responsibility post. Same way, this will be having comparative with the respect to turnover. A trained employee will be highly efficient when compared to the untrained employees. It also tries to reduce the number of supervisor responsible, or in order to look into the individual superiors, because he knows what to do and he is being trained. So that will help him to improve his morale. So these are the things also. I'm talking about the job satisfaction which an employee will be getting when he is knowing how to do it, being trained in the organization. Now looking into the benefits of development, as I told you, development is focusing on the executive levels. So there is a focus or exposure what is there in the executives when they know about the latest technologies and trends, which is essential for their professional fields. It also tries to know the company, the adequate number of managers. So how many managers are there, what are the skill they have, and what are the knowledge they have. And development is we are trying to focus for a long-term growth and for the survival of the company. It is also creating an effective team of managers. If some issues are there, they can know how to handle such issues. So there is a training is being given to the executives in order to face some challenges or some intricacies which is happening in the management of the organization. And it also tries to utilize their managerial and leadership skills. So out of training we can easily identify the leadership skills, and that can be utilized to the fullest capacity of the individual, that is executive. That is with respect to development. Now we will talk about what is this training is and what are the strategies we have to follow. We will talk about the training methods and the needs or the steps involved in training. So as far as training is talking about training, it is trying to identify the need. So identification of the need, what is necessary for training. And we talk about the learning and technology trend. So what are all the things we have to learn, what is the trend, what is the strategy, whether it is for a technological updation or it is for the boosting of morale or knowing about the challenges or competitors. All these things we have to take into consideration. So when you talk about the strategy, we talk about the customers, the preference for the customers, what are the things they have to talk about, then the organization's benefits, then about the employees. So training methods, as I told you, we have different training methods. One is on the job training and another one is off the job training. So we have to evaluate what type of a training process we are going to adopt and how we are going to evaluate the training, whether the training is successful or. So this is the training process. First we try to assess what is the need, how this training is going to be and how this process is going to help us out. And second one is we have to define the objective for what we are going for training. What is the reason? So what is the objective for this training? Then we have to design a training program. So when you talk about the different training programs we have, which will suit our organization and what type of a training method we are going to choose, all this will be finalized. Then we will implement the training program, and after implementing we will see the result analysis with respect to feedback on the. So this is the training design process. So first we have to find out, that is called as conducting need assessment. So we will find out what about the task or the person analysis or the organization analysis. So where is the need for a training, and based on that only we can design the training design process. Now next one is we try to ensure the employees whether they are ready for training and what are the attitudes and motivation required for the basic training process. Then we will try to create a learning environment, that is very important. So first we have to set down what is the learning objective and what are the material needed, how we are going to make it a practice, what is the feedback of the learning technology, what we are going to do. Then the community of learning, then we will go for modeling, what type of a learning outcome. Based on that we can train or decide the model for training. Then we go for administrating the program. Then we try to ensure transfer of training, whether it is based on the self-management or with the support of the peer group or the manager support. Then we will prepare and plan. That is we try to develop and prepare an evaluation plan. So based on this training process, we can identify the outcome. So first we fix the learning objectives, then we will identify what is the result out of it, and we try to choose the evaluation design, and we will decide about the cost benefit analysis. Then we will talk about the training method, whether it is a traditional method we are going to use or the e-learning method what we are going to use. Then we will talk about how we are going to evaluate the program and monitor the program. So we will having the conducting the evaluation technique, and if we need any changes, then we can make the alteration or changes in the program and find out the real training design process what is needed for our then. Now this is a step. So as I told you, it's a step-by-step process. So in step 1, we try to identify the need of training. So as we have different employees who are coming from different background or cultures, we have to completely have a complete study of training need. So based on the different employees, we find out a model, or we finalize a model, and we try to identify the need of the training. The next one is trying to have the planning of training and development process. So what we do here is we will identify. So என்ன மாதிரி ட்ரைனிங் வேணும்னு முதல்ல ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணிக்கிறோம். அப்புறம் தான் என்ன பண்றோம்னா என்னென்ன இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் நமக்கு வேணும்னு எடுத்துக்கிறோம். அப்புறம் அவங்களுக்கு என்ன இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் கொடுக்கணும்னு. ஏன்னா எம்ப்ளாயிஸ் எல்லாருமே டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஆட்டிடியூட் பிஹேவியர்ல இருப்பாங்க. ஸோ ஒருத்தருக்கு ஒன்று தேவையா இருக்கும். அப்போ அது தகுந்த மாதிரி நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா எல்லாருக்கும் என்ன நீடோ அது மாதிரி ஒரு மாடல் டிசைன் பண்ணும். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அதுதான் மெயினான ஸ்டெப். அப்போ என்ன வேணும்னு முதல்ல ட்ரைனிங்ல கண்டுபிடிப்போம். அப்புறம் தான் அந்த ப்ராசஸே நம்ம வந்து அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவோம். அப்புறம் பிளான் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணுவோம். அந்த இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை அந்த என்ன கொடுக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறோமோ அந்த ட்ரைனிங் ப்ராசஸ் அவங்களுக்கு கொடுப்போம். அதோட ப்ராசஸ்க்கு அப்புறம் அந்த ரிசல்ட் எப்படி இருக்கு, ப்ராக்ரஸ் எப்படி இருக்கு, எம்ப்ளாயி லேர்ன் பண்ணாங்களா ட்ரைனிங்ல, அந்த அவுட்கம் ஆஃப் தி ட்ரைனிங், அந்த லேர்னிங் அவுட்கம் எப்படி இருக்கு. ஸோ நம்ம என்ன நினைச்சு கொடுத்தோமோ ட்ரைனிங் அது ஃபுல்ஃபில் ஆச்சா, இல்ல அதுல ஏதாவது டிராபேக் இருக்கா, ஸோ அது எதனால வந்ததுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா அனலைஸ் பண்ணிட்டு நம்ம வந்து ஃபீட்பேக்கை கொடுத்து ரிவாலுவேட் பண்ணுவோம். ஸோ வி வில் டாக் அபவுட் தி டிஃபரன்ஸ் பிட்வீன் ட்ரைனிங் அண்ட் டெவலப்மெண்ட். ஸோ this training and development, as we know, it's a very important concept. As I told you, training is designed for non-managers as well as for managers. So here development is involving only the managerial personnel. So training on the short term process, development as I told you long term process. Adu training la enna பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா technical knowledge and skills தெரிஞ்சுப்பாங்க. but development managerial person என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா கான்செப்ஷுவல் தியரிட்டிக்கல் நாலேஜை கெயின் பண்ணுவாங்க. the objective of training வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா அந்த ஜாப் ரிலேட்டடுக்காக தான் இருக்கும். பட் டெவலப்மெண்ட் அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து ஒரு ப்ராடர் வியூ. ஸோ டோட்டலா வந்து ஒரு ஜென்ரலா அவங்க நிறைய விஷயங்கள் தெரிஞ்சிருப்பாங்க அதர் தென் அந்த ஜாப் ரிலேட்டட் பர்பஸா இருந்தாலும். ஸோ ட்ரைனிங் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இட் இஸ் கன்சர்ன் வித் இமீடியட் இம்ப்ரூவ்மெண்ட். ஸோ ரிசல்ட் உடனே நமக்கு தெரிஞ்சிடும். ஏன்னா இது ஒரு ஷார்ட் டேர்ம் ப்ராசஸ். அதனால அவங்களோட எஃபெக்டிவ்னஸ் வந்து ஈஸியாக அந்த கரண்ட் ரோல்லேயே தெரியும். பட் டெவலப்மெண்ட் அப்படிங்கிறது என்னன்னா அந்த மாதிரி சுச்சுவேஷன்ஸ்ல அவங்க எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்ணுவாங்கன்னு ஒரு ப்ரிப்பேர்ட்னஸ். ஸோ ஃபியூச்சருக்கு தேவையான ஒரு ப்ரிப்பேர்ட்னஸ்க்கு நம்ம அவங்களை எக்யூப் பண்ணி ஃபியூச்சர் டிமாண்டுக்கு ரெடி பண்ணி வைக்கிறோம். அதே மாதிரி ட்ரைனிங் அப்படிங்கிறது என்னன்னா புதுசா எதையாவது தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது. அப்ப ஏற்கனவே இருக்க பழசுலேருந்து புதுசா நம்மள நம்ம மாத்திக்கிறது. டெவலப்மெண்ட் அப்படிங்கிறது என்னன்னா ஃபுல்லாவே ஒரு நியூவா ஒரு விஷயத்தை தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டு அதை இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்றது. ஸோ தட் இஸ் த டிஃபரன்ஸ் பிட்வீன் ட்ரைனிங் அண்ட். Now we will talk about the two different methods. So as we know, there are a lot of training methods which is available for the employee. So we have different methods based on the trainers or learning process பார்த்து நம்ம டிசைட் பண்ண முடியும். பட் இதுல என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா மேக்ஸிமம் எம்ப்ளாயீஸை வந்து நம்ம ட்ரைனிங்ல வரதுக்காக என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா ட்ரைனிங் மெத்தட் கண்டுபிடிச்சிருக்கோம். ஸோ இதை வந்து எப்படின்னா ஒன்று வந்து ட்ரைனிங்ல என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா ட்ரெயினியே என்ன பண்ணுவாருன்னா ஒரு ஒர்க்கை பண்ணிக்கிட்டே கத்துக்கிறது. தட் இஸ் கால்ட் அஸ் ஆன் தி ஜாப் மெத்தட். அப்போ அதுல வந்து அவர் அதை வந்து என்ன பண்ணுவாருன்னா அந்த செஞ்சுக்கிட்டே கத்துப்பார். ஸோ தட் இஸ் கால்ட் அஸ் ஆன் தி ஜாப். ஆஃப் தி ஜாப் அப்படின்னா செய்யறத பார்த்து தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது. So if you talk about the difference between, so in on the emphasis is more on the getting the job done. So அது வந்து on the job trainingல. பட் ஆஃப் த ஜாப்ல வந்து பேசிக்கான ஃபேக்ட் ஸ்கில்ஸ் அவங்க தெரிஞ்சுக்குவாங்க. they will learn. கோல் பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஆஃப் த ஜாப்ல வந்து நோயிங், பட் ஆன் த ஜாப்ல வந்து பெஸ்ட் பிராக்டிஸ் டெவலப் பண்றது. நாலேஜ் ஷேரிங் பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஆஃப் த ஜாப்ல ஜென்ரலா இருக்கும், ஸ்டாட்டிக்கா இருக்கும். பட் இது வந்து ஆஃப் த ஆன் த ஜாப்னா நம்ம முன்னாடி சொன்ன மாதிரி பிராக்டிஸ்ல பண்றாங்க. ஸோ அந்த சுச்சுவேஷன் தகுந்த மாதிரி டைனமிக்கா அவங்களோட பிராக்டிஸ் ஓரியன்டா இருக்கும். ஸோ ஆஃப் த ஜாப்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா கரிக்குலம் பேஸ்டா இருக்கும். ஆன் த ஜாப்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த சுச்சுவேஷனுக்கு ஒர்க் சுச்சுவேஷன் தகுந்த மாதிரி நம்ம டிசைட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஸோ ஆஃப் த ஜாப் வந்து பிரைமரி இண்டிவிஜுவலுக்கு, ஆன் த ஜாப் பாத்தீங்கன்னா இண்டிவிஜுவலுக்கும் இருக்கும், குரூப் ஆர்கனைசேஷனுக்கு இருக்கும். learning. So now we will talk about the two different training methods. So one is on the job. As I told you, on the job na work la pandrathu, off the job na out of the job la pandrathu. So we will talk about the different methods. So on the job la we have a job rotation, coaching, job instruction, then training method, then committee assignment, then off the job la vestibular training, role playing, lecture method, conference, program instructions, even idolu guided concept. So we have on the job orientation training, then assistantship, apprenticeship. So all these are the methods of the on the job. Regarding the off the job methods, we have the lecture method, simulation method, laboratory training method, conference or discussion method, case study method, and vestibule training method. So here when you talk about the executive development, there is a little bit difference on the methods, but all the other things remains the same with respect to the executive development. So we have coaching, understudy, job rotation, project assignment, committees, multiple management, and selective readings. So these are the areas where we focus on the job techniques for the executive development. Regarding the off the job techniques, we have the lecturing method, what is being done now. We can take the case studies, then we can go for group discussions, conferences, role playing, management games, in-basket exercise or training, sensitive training, and we have the programmed instruction. So we have, now we will talk about the on-the-job training in this particular session. So we have mentoring, we have job rotation, then we call it as job instruction training, which is called as JIT, understudy, apprenticeship, and the coaching methodology. We will talk about each one from the beginning. So on the job training, as we have discussed, we will look into its advantages and disadvantages. So when we talk about the on the job training, it does not have to pay for the on the job training, and only the seniorly person who is having high skilled and experience, he will teach the new staff the exact skills what they need for a particular job. Regarding the another advantages, it is trying to create a learner-teacher relationship in the workplace. So the business, they can acquire an experience in in-housing training team. Regarding the disadvantages, it is focusing on the productivity which can be interrupted, and the senior highly skilled and experienced staff has to leave their job to teach or train. Then skills are learned or job specific, so it will be leaving less staff flexible to change the roles, and a business can be isolated, failing to keep up to date. As we know, when we don't go for a new updation or technological, then we have to be isolated and we cannot sustain the cost. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of the on the job training. It is a relatively inexpensive method, and the trainers will be learning by doing, and they can easily quickly get the feedback at the performance. Employees can begin to contribute to the production process while they are undergoing the training process. It is very simple method, and employees experience a real job situation. And the disadvantages, there are more chances of damaging the equipment during the training period, and the scrap rate and the reject rate of the products will be very high because they are not much skilled over there. And the service what they give to customer, that may be affected because the new employee is in the training period, and you will be providing some services. Now we will talk about the different methods of training. So first, as I told you, on the job methods, the training is given to the employees while they are conducting the regular work at their own job place, and that is why it is called as on the job training. So first one is job rotation. So as we know, various jobs in an organization are there. Each job or work, there is a different set of skills that is needed for the work or the employee. So in order to develop the workforce in all the sectors and zones of the organization, we use the job rotation method, and here worker is getting an opportunity to work on different posts with a different set of responsibility without any increase in the pay scale. So this is called as lateral movements. Example, we can take the. Then regarding this job rotation, as I told you here, worker is moving systematically from one job to the another, so that he is learning or mastering the nuisance of or different jobs of the same order, and they are in the same lateral category or the same department or with a different department, but the hierarchy remains the same. So this training, what is helping him is, he is having a wider exposure, he is developing some multiple skills, it is allowing the management to use services in different departments for different jobs, and is also assuming the supervisory responsibility for the jobs, and he also learns how to do during this training program. So this is called as position rotation technique. Now the advantages of it is training the workers in a variety of duties and responsibilities, and it is trying to develop multiple skills. So and the workers, they are getting an overall perspective of related activities and jobs. It helps the management to know the services of these workers on different jobs as per their staff requirement, and the learning, if you take the learning is high, and the motivation is also higher because there is more skills and challenges, there is an active participation, and there is a quick transference of skill to jobs, and the feedback can be easily measured based on the progress. And it is also focusing on marketability of the trained employees. He can get alternative employment anywhere, even that is a so the limitation is, it is very time consuming and it is a costly measure, and due to individual differences, people are not suiting all the jobs, and sometimes it makes the workers' commitment very weakened. And as we know, there is a problem of inclination of for a different job, because there is a job rotation. I may like one job, but due to job rotation I may be shifted to another job. Next one is coaching method. Here what happens is, theoretically we are learning something and practically we are trying to put into action in an organization. So here what is this, we have a theoretical background and try to put it in a practical way. So this method, what is this, the coach is being trained, that is the employee is being trained by the coaching method. So he gets a regular feedback. Then we have a committee assignments. Here what happens is, they conduct a meeting or seminar of workers and they get the real problem of the organization. So assignment will be given and they have to solve their organization issues like that. It will be having teamwork and it tries to develop leadership qualities among the workers. Then next important method is apprenticeship training method. So here what happens is, we have a structured process whereby the trainee will be getting skilled workers through a combination of both classroom instruction is given and the on-the-job training is given. So this is a very importantly widely used method for many occupations, like we can take the example of plumbers, iron workers or electricians. So this method of training, here training is put under the guidance of the master worker. So this apprenticeship period can be for 1 year, 2 years or 4 years based on the nature of the work and the period of work. But the payment will be, they will be given a stipend only if they are qualified, they will be promoted. So this is the old system of training method where people, craftsmen, they will be knowing the intricacies of the particular trade where they are doing, and this training program is more focusing on the development of right attitudes and aptitudes among the intricacies of the trade, and it is trying to create a geniusness in the trade. And in modern vision of this training program apprenticeship, we are giving them classroom instructions and they are getting trained in the local schools or colleges where they are, and they have about 144 or minimum 144 hours, or they have more hours. They have to have a practice, they have a diary or workbook, and they have a written material where they have to read, write the test and take the practice. So this is called as apprenticeship, and they are called as assistant, and they learn the craft and they call them as a journeyman after they are completing or acquiring all the skills. So this is a more important training for trade, craftsmen or technical fields, as I told you. Now we have another system is called as brainstorming. So here brainstorming is a grouping of creativity of technique whereby all the efforts are made to find a conclusion for a specific problem. So what we happen is we try to gather list of ideas what is being contributed by the members. So people what they do is they think more freely and they suggest many spontaneous ideas, and that will be put into their thing. That is we have some rules for brainstorming. We have to defer judgment, we have to encourage wild ideas, and we are trying to build ideas based on others' opinions. We have to be focusing on the topic, and we have to have conversation at a time. We have to visualize, we have to go for visualizing what could be the result, and we have to look into the quantity. So we have a 4 group brainstorming techniques, and one is a mind mapping. We know mind mapping is a non-linear technique. Then we have a visual brainstorming technique. So this technique is trying to help on the question or the topic and connect different dots between different ideas. So we find a different technique. We have a brain rating, we have a rapid ideation, and we have star busting. So all these are the techniques in brainstorming. So in brainstorming what we do is we set the direction, we have to stay focused, we will be trying to involve everyone, we invite the wild ideas, and we have to look obviously, and we have to go for cross fertile, suspend judgment, allow repetitions, we should not stop anyone. Then later we will place all the ideas, that is called as displaying ideas. Internship. This internship program is mostly given in the education institutions or vacation institutions, where we try to go in for an arrangement with a particular industrial enterprise in order to provide the students the expertise knowledge or experimental knowledge in the particular field. So internship is focusing on this goals. It tries to help them to acquire the skills, knowledge. It has a mentoring system. Somebody will be guiding us. That will be put into practice. It creates an opportunity, and training is being given as an internship training. Job instruction training. This job instruction training is also called a JIT. So what happens is we have a particular task. So the worker is guided by a supervisor or a training who will be telling him how we have to do. That is the exact steps for doing the job. So moreover, new workers is also being taught how to do by the supervisor. So this JET is a step-by-step training program whereby each job has some basic tasks and they have the key points. So this is how we have to do. So the step will show us how it has to be done, and the key points will also tell us why we are doing this. So there are 4 basic steps involved in this. First, the preparing the trainees by telling them what is your job and how they have to overcome the uncertainties in the particular job. They will be given the instructions and also the essential information in a very clear manner. And we have to make them try out the job, like demonstrate their understanding. Now we have to place the workers into the job on their own with a designated resource person. So if there is a resource person and if the trainee is having some queries or doubts or clarifications, they can get the assistance from that particular resource.